Give it up for Masaba Gupta!
Welcome, Masaba, to Beauty Banter.
Thank you.
I was writing the column on fashion in the front page of Bombay Times, and you were the Gen Next, and I wrote about you. And I wrote, this is the new kid on the block.
Wow, okay, I'm very flattered.
Why fashion? Because your mom was from like acting, theatre, Bollywood.
Yeah, because she didn't allow me to be an actor. So and I said I want to go and study acting because I want to be an actor. And she said, listen, don't even think about it. You know, you have this look which is very artsy, international and almost not Indian. You'll get put in a box. And then I just got through SNDT and I was not happy. I don't think I ever wanted to be a designer. You know, people thought it's the job of a tailor.
I remember once giving a talk at GII, and I said, always remember that your designs may be fabulous, but if they're going to lie on the shelf, it has no meaning.
Yeah.
So when did that come into you?
From day one, because you know, I was an usher at Fashion Week. It was beautiful, but it was intimidating. I think at the time there was only bridal. And that was the day I decided if I ever make my debut, I will make clothes that are wearable.
I see that you have launched a cosmetic line, Love Child. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm so passionate about makeup. Given the skin issues I had, I could never use anything. I think I battled with severe acne for maybe 14 or 15 years. Earlier it was, I think people didn't want to see your face.
Bad acne?
Terrible. I couldn't sleep. That's how
God.
bad it was. So now that I can, I play with makeup all day.
Welcome, Masaba, to Beauty Banter.
Thank you.
I have no words to explain how excited we are to have you on. My team, my young team, they just can't wait. They all wanted to be here. And I said, you just cannot because there'll be too much noise. But everybody was excited. I think one or two of them even changed their travel plans. So
That's so nice.
Yes,
That's
absolutely,
so nice to
absolutely. So you have a big fan following.
Thank you.
And I don't know how much you are aware of it, but it's fantastic to see it.
I try not to be aware of it. Better that way.
How I know you
Yes.
is in 2009, I was writing for Fashion Week.
Okay.
And you were Gen Next
Yes.
in Lakme Fashion Week.
That's right.
I was writing the column on fashion in the front page of Bombay Times. And you were the Gen Next. And I wrote about you. And I wrote, this is the new kid on the block.
Wow. Okay, I'm very flattered. Wow, that is a long time
And
back.
I went backstage and interviewed you.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I couldn't find that article, and we were going through it this morning. But I remember you to make an impression on me. You were very young, and I remember your creations also. They were unusual,
Thank you.
different from what I was seeing on Gen Next.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, at that time, there were a lot of designers which were out of the box.
Yeah.
I think it was the start or the blossoming of a different kind of designer.
A different genre of fashion.
Very, very
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
And then I saw you a couple of years later, and I saw the change, the gloss,
Okay.
which I don't mean that your designs became glossy. I mean just the whole, the finish, the look, your confidence, everything was different.
That's
and I
great.
said, I wrote about her, and look where she is. And now look where you are.
And we're back
Goodness
here.
gracious.
We're finally talking.
We're finally talking.
talking.
And I had to, they said at the backstage that Bombay Times wants to interview, and everybody was reaching out for this interview because they wanted a mention.
Yes.
And now we had to find you and chase you for this.
Wow.
Kind of chase you.
Oh, I was okay, I thought.
You were okay, but
was
I
okay-ish.
I just thought that I should tell you about that little history.
That's a very special one because
Yes.
it was... Were you by any chance also a judge at my fashion show in college? Why
No,
do I
I
feel
don't.
like... Were you on the jury? No, you weren't.
No.
SNDT?
Oh, yes, I was. I'm
Yes.
so sorry, I was.
Now it's all coming
Yes.
back. You...
Yes.
So you started... You
Yes.
saw me before I made my debut.
Yes, you're right. Now that you bring it up,
Yeah.
I did do the SNDT.
It was at the Leela.
In fact, I even did the nominations.
I
Yes.
remember you from then.
Yes. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? That was even before that.
That was 2008.
And so you were meant to be here talking to me.
I was, yeah.
And tell me about the girl then.
yes.
And I don't want to say in a very cliche way the girl then and the woman now, but the young woman now, but your thoughts then, not just your designs, but you know your aims, your aim,
Yeah.
and your vision. How smooth has it been?
You know, I'll start with the smooth part because it's actually been, it was very smooth, I have to say, for the first 5 years. You're young and you're driven and you're passionate, and that's all that you're thinking about. You're
Yeah.
just thinking about how can I do more?
Yeah.
You know, you're not thinking about the pains of running a business or how to kickstart a business. You're not thinking about what could go wrong.
Right.
You know, you're only thinking about what will go right. And then there was also this noise in the press because people were curious about me, and I think I had the privilege of curiosity because a lot of people don't have that at that stage.
Right.
Of someone being interested in you, it's a privilege, you know, to want to know more about you, to want to write about you, to want to be in the same room as you and ask you questions. That's a huge privilege, you know. And I just was very taken in by that world. And I was very driven. I worked day and night. And we started from my mom's apartment. She had a 3-bed in Juhu, and one of the rooms was where all the fabric was stored. And we had this one tailor who would come and pick up some pieces, and I would do like 7-8 pieces with him, sit and design with my mom. And we just send it to, at the time, a store called Satva in Khar, which was a multi-designer store. And very soon, the interest picked up from like an Azza or a Karma and all these stores, which were just, for me, it was a different world to be on the same shop floor as some of the designers that I grew up admiring.
Right.
But it was smooth, and I'll tell you why it was smooth, because one, I had the financial backing from my mum, where, of course, the money wasn't limitless, but it was there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's another privilege where if you want even 20,000 rupees, it's
Yeah.
available to you.
And when you suffer
yeah.
that blow, there is that money to kind of pick you up again.
Absolutely. Or
That's a
something
biggie.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Something doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you know, you made a 10-piece collection, it didn't work, the consignment came back. At
Right.
that time, we worked on consignment, and you had to pick up and do it again.
Yeah.
So it was smooth in that aspect, and there was everything that I did, I remember, was very, very well acknowledged. I made it a point to be at Fashion Week every season, both seasons.
Wow.
And that's also because I remember there was this one designer with me in Gen Next. He was this boy from Calcutta, had no interest in running a business. He did that show. We did 8 pieces, I remember, as part of the showcase. He was by far the most talented person that I've seen.
What is his name?
Amarraj Sen Gupta. Far more talented than I can ever be, and many people that I've seen, I don't think he comes close. But I remember he just packed up his stall at the end of Fashion Week. He said, Masaba, I just sold all my samples because I stitched them myself. He packed up and he left for Calcutta. And I think he said, I don't think I belong here. And when I saw him and I sort of compared our ambitions, I realized that I don't think I want to be that. I respected him for it, but I said, I want to make a business out of this.
Right.
So then I was consistent. I made a point to be at Fashion Week, be seen, do proper press releases.
Become relevant.
Just consistency.
Right.
So I think one is that I was smooth because the world was sort of welcoming me with open arms.
Yeah.
But I was also very hardworking. I was just very, very hardworking. So I think.
But why fashion?
Um,
Because your mom was from like acting, theatre, Bollywood.
Yeah, because she didn't allow me to be an actor, so
Okay.
which is why. So I remember there's Anupam Kher's acting school in Juhu, right? They share a wall with SNDT, and I said I want to go and study acting because I want to be an actor, and she said, "Listen, don't even think about it. You know, you have this look which is very artsy, international, and almost not Indian. You'll get put in a box." And the industry at the time was very different.
Yeah.
So she said, you'll be frustrated, do something that you have to apply your brain to, that you can do for life. And she said, "Oh, there's SNDT right there. Do you want to go give it a shot?" The admissions were open. I went there and I gave I put in my paper, filled a form, and my 10th grade marks were all they needed to take that form in. So luckily they were good and they took it in. They said, "Yeah, come and do the entrance exam in a week."
Was Hemant Trivedi still involved then?
He was, but
he was a true master.
I miss him, and I think he was on his way out at the time.
He had an accident and he was...
yeah. But my mom, I think they kind of shared a flat for some time in the middle or something.
Oh, they did?
They did. There was something there.
He's the one who spotted me as a model.
Really?
Yeah. He
Garden
saw me somewhere
sarees.
and he said, "This girl has nice legs. Will you model for us on catwalk?"
Wow.
And that's how I got into the main big stream, like
Yeah.
the mainstream of modeling.
Yeah, and he was a visionary, with his campaigns and everything at the time. But he was very instrumental in making SNDT what it was, And then I just got through to SNDT and I was not happy. I don't think I ever wanted to be a designer. People thought it's the job of a tailor. Everyone said you're a glorified tailor. It's not something that I didn't see it as, oh, I'll be an entrepreneur or whatever it is today. And I said, fine, okay, mom says it's a good thing. It's got longevity as a career and all that. So I did it and I was pretty miserable for 3 years.
Really?
I was pretty miserable. It was a very rigorous course. It wasn't easy. You couldn't bunk. Couldn't just
Well, you had to be passionate about it to go through it.
I also failed miserably at many, many classes. I was just not with it.
Nobody is going to imagine that.
No, I failed pattern making. I couldn't stitch a drawstring. I could do the pants. I couldn't get the drawstring right. My teachers hated me. They said this girl she's in her own world, and I would sketch. I would go downstairs with my illustration teacher and I would sketch like trees and plants and foliage and scenery and all that. And I said, this is fashion, this is what it is. And then I remember there was this class that they were teaching us to dye our own cloths. And there was beetroot and there was, natural vegetable dyes. And they were teaching us all of that. And then there was crochet and knitting. And I'm allergic to wool, so I was miserable because I was just sobbing while I was
my God.
It was just, I was not happy.
Yeah.
Somehow, Wendell Rodrigues walked in one day.
Also a genius.
Absolute genius.
Absolute genius.
I'm actually a lot more in awe of how he lived his life, Queenie, more than his work, because he was just so cool in Goa, in his his little dhoti, and he's just
in his existence, he was actually the true cool.
He was.
Yeah. He was a true cool.
Cut away
I knew
from
him
Bombay
very
life.
well. I did a lot of shows for him. I spent time with him in Goa as well. He was a genius. I mean, these kind of guys,
They don't come back.
and the first realization of fashion and then understanding, because sometimes when you are in a very creative person, you don't understand the business side of it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like like in jewelry, for instance, in my business, these designers come and they are fabulous. And I remember once giving a talk at GII to the graduating students. And I said, always remember that your designs may be fabulous, but if they're going to lie on the shelf, it has no meaning.
Yeah.
So you have to understand when you're designing the business of fashion, or the
Absolutely.
business of designing.
Design and jewels.
Because
Yes,
they have
everything.
to belong to somebody.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know what?
Yeah.
You have a sellout expiry date right here.
Yeah.
So when did that come into you that it's not just fashion, but it's the business of fashion, and I have to make my design sell and become popular?
From day one, because I was an usher at Fashion Week. So
Yeah.
I was in charge of helping people find their seats. I didn't enjoy one show. I didn't walk away from one show feeling like I could own something or put myself in these clothes and feel okay. It was intimidating. It was beautiful, but it was intimidating. I think at the time there was only bridal, and there may have been a little bit of couture here and there.
Yeah.
But it was over the top. It was not something that found its way in your closet.
Yeah.
And that was the day I decided, if I ever make my debut, I will make clothes that are wearable. That, that gap between commerce and art, is so important. And I think I also tell this to all the girls who come work with me. I keep telling them that, listen, your clothes, exactly what you said, they're not meant to be hanging on a wall as art. If you want to do that, you pursue it that way, or you decide that my ambition is to be a small boutique brand. Can you pursue that ambition? Then you do that. But I said I want to be a retail giant. I was very inspired by Ritu Kumar. I was very inspired by Anita Dongre. I wanted to have a footprint, in the country where people can come, walk into a store, experience the work I do. And I think that's why I very early started the journey of offline retail. I had my first store, which is still there in Juhu, I think in 2010. That was
Wow.
my flagship. Everyone said, do you know anything about running a shop? I said, I'll figure it out. I went and I sat at my shop every day. I used to do the billing sometimes because there was nobody. And I figured it out and I learned that way. I used to make handmade bills at the time. So it was special because I think I in a way sort of molded my own baby in the way that I wanted.
Right, and you learned from there. You learned from the bottom.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to learn.
Yeah, and I remember I asked Wendell once, I said, have I made a mistake? Because I never did an internship. He said, no, you would have corrupted your mind. You would have become a watered down version of the designer that you interned with because as a kid, you're so impressionable,
Yeah.
So he said, learn.
What
fail
good
and learn.
advice.
Yeah, interesting advice,
Yeah.
different advice.
And what did you like about Ritu Kumar? I know we are going a lot into design, but I'm interested.
I like the fact that I was very interested that you had this Indian designer who designed for Miss India. If you remember the time Miss India was the thing.
Yeah.
As was Miss Universe.
Yes.
I would wake up early in the morning and want to see who's going to win the pageant.
Yeah.
And I saw Ritu Kumar's work there for the first time and I said, what a stage to have your work showcased at. I liked her because she was India proud.
I did a lot of shoot for her in the desert, in the dunes.
Yes.
And the first thing she would do is remove my makeup.
Really?
I don't want any makeup on your face. Just black around your eyes. You're Indian. You don't need any of this gloss. You are as you are. And she used to take off all the makeup.
Yeah.
However, I was a Miss India on a platform, and you know who my designers were? Hemant Trivedi and Rohit Khosla.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it was before Ritu Kumar.
Yeah.
Masaba, I see that you have launched a cosmetic line, Love Child. Tell us a little bit about that. How cosmetics? I mean, what made you feel that you wanted to do something in makeup?
It's actually my 4th or 5th sort of jab at makeup. Way back, before collaborations were ever a thing, I did a collection with Lakme with their chubby sticks. This was 2015 or 14. And soon after that, I did something with Clinique. And then there was Nykaa, of course, which was the very large, long association, 3 years. And I have to say, whatever I've learned in beauty is from Falguni and Nykaa, and I think a huge admiration for what she's built. And when I saw that, I said, this is such a great thing for me because I'm so passionate about makeup. And I'm more passionate because given the skin issues I had throughout my growing up years, I could never use anything. So now that I can, I play with makeup all day. It's my passion.
In one of your interviews, you've written that you didn't like to switch on the bathroom light, so you didn't have to see your skin.
Yeah. It was I think I battled with severe acne for maybe 14 or 15 years. Can't say it's always, it's changed now in a way that it's always a clean slate in terms of my face, but there are times when I get a little breakout here and there.
You look great.
Thank you.
Look
I
great.
think it's also because inside I feel good. I think now acne has not become such a, oh my God, she has acne. Earlier it was I think people didn't want to see your face. So I struggled with that. I didn't know what to do. 7-8 dermats that I kept going to.
Bad acne?
Terrible. I couldn't sleep because the side of my face would pain when I went to bed. That's how
God.
bad it was.
Do you think that acne has a lot to do with what's going on inside, or do you think largely it's genetic?
Oh, it's so much to do with your inner being and your inner thoughts. I really believe that now because one is stress. But I mean, what stress did I have back then except the acne itself? But I think that, I think more than that, it's self doubt and this constant, feeling of I am inadequate that results in these flare ups. I really believe that. I believe that.
Self-esteem.
Yeah, yeah. Because I knew girls at that age. I had a friend who had worse acne than me. She went out and she was confident. I would put talcum powder. I'd take a little bit on my fingers and just dab it all over the black spots. Also because I have my skin gets pigmented and sort of spots very fast.
Yeah.
So I would just, small breakout, it would leave a permanent mark on my back, on my chest, on my shoulders, everywhere. And I was a tennis player, and it was very traumatic for me because I remember one day the dermat said, the sun is causing it.
Oh my God.
Quit tennis.
Oh my God.
And I was at the top of my game. I was, I think, Maharashtra number 2 or 3.
Oh, so nobody knows this about you?
No, I was a professional tennis player.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how tennis, I don't want to digress quickly, I want to come back to the acne, but...
How tennis? Mom just made me sort of join these classes because she said, always play a sport. That was her theory. She played tennis.
Yeah.
She played tennis with Gulzar Saab, if you please.
Oh, okay.
And she said that play a sport, it keeps your mind sane. And I played tennis, and then I said, I love it. I was naturally strong. I think that's the genetic part. I was naturally good at the backhand and the forehand and just agility.
Strong.
Yeah. And very quick on court,
Yeah.
even though I was a bigger girl
Yeah.
than girls my age. So I just pursued it, and then next thing you know, I'm playing tournament after tournament. And
Wow. Tell me about your relationship with your mom. What is the essence of it? Is it friendship? Is it mother and daughter? Is it extreme sort of an understanding? Like an easy way of being together, existing together? What is the formula?
it's respect at every phase that we both have been in. So like you said, I think it starts off as mother-daughter. It's important where, as a daughter, I slightly fear my mother. It's my parent.
Respect.
Respect. It's
Yeah.
Respect for a deadline that I've been given, respect for honoring what she said. And I think that's the starting point, because a lot of kids don't realize that if you give respect to an elder, you get it back. You're no longer treated as a little kid. You get that respect as an equal back.
Right.
Because they trust you.
Right.
Beyond that, it moved to friendship, and in a way that I could share a lot more with her. I could have conversations that are very candid with her.
And you trust her.
And I trust her. And I trust that she is not my enemy. I think when you're a teenager, you think that your parent, especially your mum, is your enemy. She would say, don't use this chemical, and don't color your hair, and don't do this and don't do that. And I just said, and now I know. Now I know when I see myself, whatever she said is right.
Yeah. Did you ever sense a sense of, at some point, because, a lot of mothers, daughters go through that, a sense of competition? It's not that it ever comes from the mother.
Yeah.
But from the daughter,
Yeah.
she may feel that, that sense of competition, that I got to be better than my mom. Or sometimes when mom is your enemy, then mom doesn't want me to do this.
A very interesting thing happened once, where it happened multiple times. Wherever I went, everyone said, oh, we love your mother, such a great fan.
Yeah.
And you're getting there. That was always the statement.
Right.
And I think it happened 3 or 4 times, and I once got very irritated by it. Because again, I just said, why can't you love me as much as you love her? What have I done that is less? But that's the arc of an actor, and that is the arc of a designer. The day I came to know that an actor or a cricketer in this country, these are the 2 things that people truly care about.
Yeah.
Bollywood and cricket.
Yeah.
And weddings.
Yeah.
So I just think that if an actor, and I'll tell you this, an actor who is half famous, half successful, will still get a lot more, oh, such a fan, oh, love you,
Adulation.
adulation. Forget half, not even made their debut, will still get more of that than somebody who's an accomplished entrepreneur, designer for the last 20 years.
Right.
So the day I made my peace with that, I think that that feeling of the competition went away. But every relationship or every phase that I've had with my mother, every time it evolves, respect is still very much the core of it, which is why it's never been tough, which is why it's real and it's true, and I can tell her like it is. You know,
Right.
she doesn't feel bad. I tell her sometimes, Mom, the hair on that red carpet did not work out, and she's happy to hear it.
Yeah.
You know,
So at what age were you happy with that? What age did it settle?
I think when so I've been married once before,
Right.
when I was 26, and I think that the day that marriage sort of ended and I became my own person, I remember there was this conversation Mum and I had where she said, you know, do you want to move back in with me? And I said, you know, if I do that, I will be taking 10 steps back from the step that I've just taken. Yeah, because I just did not. And to be honest, it was a tough time for me because I couldn't really afford to rent a house on my own.
Yeah.
I wasn't earning that kind of money. I was not paying myself a salary. It was a very small business. But I said, Mom, just let me do this in the way that I can. Let me run my own house and see what it's like.
Wow.
You know, so
Because you were very young.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's one more thing I want to ask you. The year 28 of a girl is a very crucial
Yes.
age, because they say at 28, when you're not decided what you're doing in life, you can tend to lead, your mind can tend to go a little bit depressed.
Right.
Because you don't know your way forward, and you haven't really settled where you
Yeah.
are. What is your view on that? Because, I see that 28 is a big
You're
age.
very right about that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
You know, it's more than 28. I think that if at the age of 28 you are somewhat clear in your head that this is the life that I want to lead, not professionally, because I think that can keep changing. Your interests, your hobbies, your passions, what you're making money off will keep changing.
Yeah.
What is your personal goal?
Yeah.
Is it to be somebody who's okay with being, a housewife? Am I happy with being part housewife, part business owner, full-time business owner, full-time mom, half-time mom, whatever? Personal choices at 28 will reflect in when you turn 30. Because turning 30 for women is a big milestone. You feel like you're crossing that bridge in a way.
Even for boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even for boys at 30, they,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was 32, 35 because they take longer to grow up, but anyway.
when did they grow up?
When did they grow up? I can't remember. But yeah, I just think that for me, all my girlfriends, we kept talking about, oh my God, I'm turning 30. I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
That was the constant thing. And I used to keep wondering, I said, as long as you know personally what your goal is, because that can lead you astray more than anything else. Picking a wrong partner, peer pressure, not taking care of your body,
Right.
not taking a good hard look at who are the people around me, who am I inspired by, who are my friends. Those are the decisions that will change everything between 28 and 30.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
You know what? That's great advice, because what kids at 28 are concerned about is their career. And what you just said was something that needs to go viral, and that is that have your personal choices cleared.
Yeah.
Because profession, you can keep changing.
Keep changing,
Yeah.
keep trying new things. I was 28 when I got divorced. I remember that whole point of going back and becoming my mother's daughter, sheltered life, living, cooks, making khana for me and the
Yeah.
driver and whatever at my beck and call. I purposely chose not to go down that road. I don't know what it was. But with a lot of girls, I think your instinct, if you have the willpower to follow it, it'll take you in that direction.
Great advice. I know I have to talk about your business before my team kills me that you didn't even bring up business.
We're like life
But-
talk.
But you know what? These are great this is a great conversation because I know that the younger people really look to hear what you have to say. You've just launched Love Child, and it's obviously, gaining a lot of momentum and popularity.
Yeah.
I also heard you speak at the conference saying that I don't know what else I'm going to do soon.
Yes.
And so, from a business point of view, how are you able to manage to sell, where your margins are pretty low?
Pretty low, yeah.
And your marketing is so immense, and
Yes.
you have influencer marketing.
Yes.
And all of that,
Yeah.
in today's D2C climate. How do you manage to do that so intelligently?
Well, I think I always tell the team that, there's a certain discipline that comes with not having money, which you should apply when you have the money. So the same principles that you live by when you didn't have the funds are the principles that you should apply when you have all the funds available to you. And I think what happened, if you notice in the middle, maybe post-COVID, was there was this huge influx of just money from VCs, etc.
Of course,
flowing
yeah.
in. There were lots of funding that happened, acquisitions that happened, etc., etc. And the market was great, healthy, and very, very open. I think the problem with beauty is exactly what you said, that the margins are so low, distribution is expensive. Because the margins there are very high that you
Yes.
give to your partner.
Marketing is
Marketing
insane.
is insane.
Yeah.
And it is a 24/7, 365-day job.
Right,
It's not seasonal.
right.
A nude lipstick in 100 formulations will sell month after month if you wanted to. You're also, I keep telling my beauty team, you're not inventing the next pair of jeans. So there's nothing that is groundbreaking that is ever going to come out of this.
Yeah.
We are playing by what is an industry standard. We're playing by data.
Right,
Kajal is a thing in India, will always be.
right.
Nude lipstick is a thing in India, will always be. But for example, what is nude on you is different on me, etc., etc. So it opens up a multitude of, opportunities. Having said that, I think when I started Love Child, I said, there isn't a brand that is saying we cater for Indian skin tones. Indian skin is different. We have pigmentation, there's a little bit of discoloration, etc., etc. And I think it came to me via the audience. We did a consumer survey and they asked me, they told me, they said, we think that she gets Indian skin. And I think it's because I'm half black that I'm
Right.
able to get colored skin and what really works and what doesn't work. Like pressed powder, I always use one with a slight tinge of pink. I never use the one that's white. And it's made a difference to how I look.
Right. The
So
pigment.
the pigment makes
Right.
such a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a blue tone red and then there's a
Right.
coral and a tomato. So I
Yeah.
think all these things make you look very, very different.
Right. Otherwise, you'll end up looking grey.
You look grey.
Yeah.
So color theory was something I started to understand. I think mostly by the collaborations that I did, and I understood makeup very, very deeply. And I just told the team, I said, keep your head down and just remember that you are a brand that is solving problems for women on a daily basis. We just launched a brow range, for example, and I said, a lot of us don't know how to do our brows. You and I have spent a lot of time in a makeup chair, so we've learned over time, But the thing is, the average woman doesn't know how to fill her brows and then brush them and then sculpt them and shape them.
Doesn't
well.
exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, only with the makeup artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, how can you simplify the process for her? So we have a little brow kit with a little pomade, and there's a brush in there and a spoolie. And then there's another one which is a pencil that has all three directions on it. So it says shape, which is the pencil. There is fill, which is the sponge. And then there is shape, which is the spoolie. So you have everything written on there. But what we've noticed is that products that are problem solving or reduce the makeup time for a woman first thing in the morning when she's getting ready and getting out of the door,
Right.
those products have done very well. And India proud. We have a fragrance called Nani House. Through the roof, because it's a story that is so Indian. I mean, all of us remember Nani House. It's not
Yeah.
Nani's house, it's
Yeah.
always Nani House. So it's a mogra, and I said it should
Yeah.
remind everyone of their grandmothers.
Yeah.
So I think storytelling, problem solving.
I have to get that.
I will send one.
Yeah, I have to get
I will
that.
send one to you.
No,
So,
I'll
yeah.
get it online.
Okay. Yeah, tell me how the customer service was.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, so I guess that's what it all boils down to, because the competition is fierce. Price points are competitive. You know, you
Yes.
have major giants that come and disrupt the market sometimes. You launch something at 1200, they come and say $600. Here you
Yeah.
go. And their
And sometimes they
distribution
are
is
they
huge.
are aiming at what is doing well.
Yes, yes.
So, one of the things I want to ask you before we close, there has been a sort of an intrigue about Masaba,
Okay.
and the brand that exists today is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And how would you say that? What has really been your mantra? I mean, I'm sure there have been the ups and downs and the craziness and that the times when you've stood in front of a wall and say it's going nowhere. And
Every morning, trust me.
yeah. But what has been the mantra? Has it been a regime? Has it been? And after that, I do want to find out your beauty regime.
Okay.
So, but this philosophy of life, how did you get to be Masaba?
I think there's 2 or 3 things that I've been able to sort of put a finger on in the last couple of years. One is that no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what has happened the day before work, no matter who has had the nastiest meeting with me, or I've been told that your label will shut in the next 3 months, which happened in COVID, by the way, which my investors at the time told me we'll have to shut shop in 3 months. And I was just sitting there sobbing because there wasn't much I could do. I think I've always shown up to work
The next day.
the next day. I don't know what it is. It's almost become muscle memory now.
Consistency, discipline.
It's just, some days my husband's like, where are you going? Like, why are you all dressed up? It is Ganpati, or it's something, or it's a holiday, it's a Sunday. Where are you going? I said, no. Whether I'm going somewhere or not, I wake up, I have this chair in the house that I sit on. I have to take a shower at a certain time. It's not like I'll just be in my clothes all day. And I sit down and I at least open my laptop and do something. And I have to go to office every day. If I'm in Bombay,
Workaholic.
I'm a workaholic. But you know, it gives me
Peace.
peace, but I also believe it saved me from all the other crap. I don't like parties. I don't like going out. I don't like making small talk. So I always I'm working, and that gives me my peace. It saves me from unnecessary people, you know, making pointless friendships, nurturing pointless relationships. I keep the circle that I like around me, that helps me grow as an individual, that I'm inspired by, or that I learn from.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You know, it has been terrific, but I have a rapid fire round. So, if Masaba was not a fashion designer,
I would be in advertising, or I would be a lawyer.
I would have thought tennis player.
Oh, no. I let that dream go.
Okay.
Yeah.
A message for your mom.
Stay as honest and candid as you are, even though you feel like the world is going in a different direction.
What would be the one thing that would be a disaster for you?
I think just not having my husband around. I'm very attached to him, a bit obsessed. He's like my sounding board. A lot of people don't know this, but he's like the guy who actually helps me make all my decisions.
Fabulous. Another person you'd like to see on a podcast?
I guess Jaya Bachchan or Sharmila Tagore.
Wow.
I love that generation. They just have it all together.
Is there a lot of that information or that vibe or that energy coming from around your mom's?
Yeah, or maybe
Yeah.
Rekha ji.
Yeah.
Because there's mystery.
Yeah.
I'd like to unravel the mystery.
Still mystery.
Still mystery.
That I don't think.
That's not happening, but it's
That's
fine.
Nepotism in Bollywood, yes or no?
Nepotism exists in every industry. लॉयर का बेटा लॉयर बनता है, डॉक्टर का बेटा डॉक्टर बनता है और उनका पापा उन सबको रेकमेंड करता है. दैट इज द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड,
Yes.
नॉट जस्ट इन इंडिया बट एवरीवेयर.
Yes.
Yes, sometimes I think opportunities are misplaced because of nepotism in Bollywood, but it's the way of the world. It's just that it's such a public industry that you're able to see it. It happens everywhere.
Right. One message for the people out there who love you.
Please keep loving me in all my different phases. I may say wrong things sometimes, but please continue to love me because my heart is in the right place.
Motherhood.
Far bigger, better than any other role that one takes on in their life. Not just bigger, better, but far more wholesome.
Masaba, it's been wonderful. I
Thank
mean,
you.
while I sit with you and talk to you, I know you more, of course. And a lot of the questions just came from my heart. I was kind of insecure that I should cover those questions, but I don't think I covered even 1/3 of them. They were too technical, and I wanted to talk to you about other things. It's been absolutely wonderful. And looking back in 2009 when I interviewed you, I mean, little did I think, you know what the future has to hold.
Yeah.
15 years later, I'm going to be sitting in a new age podcast.
Yes.
Interviewing this wonderful young woman
Thank
who
you.
is such a success, made her life a success with all the disadvantages that you felt you had,
Yeah.
and with the advantages that many have,
Many
but still
people,
don't
yeah.
make it.
Yes.
So, hats off to you,
Thank you.
and wish you all the good luck and wishes for the future. You have a great road ahead of you.
Thank you so
And
much.
and you're paving this for yourself, which is fantastic.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure.
Thank you for being on Beauty Banter.
Thank you.